Paula, Hillbilly Orchids. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. I was thinking of, what would be a good video to talk about. And I was thinking, we've been talking a little bit about bugs lately. Now, we all had a rough summer with the bugs. It was literally... everybody got hit with spider mites and everything. Like, it was just crazy. This was the first time I had ever gotten hit by thrips and having an indoor place in 10 years, It was crazy because it seemed like I didn't have any bug issues for like the first 6 years. So then after that was, when I started having some issues. But sometimes you gotta recognize. That's why. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the. I hit the tripod thing or the arm thing that's holding the camera. Anyways, the best thing. That's why I keep telling you. The best way to be able to notice something going on with your plants is when you get them in hand and you start looking at them, and then what's going on with that particular plant. Well, this is a Dendrobium. I've been having issues with this sucker. I call him a sucker because I've been having troubles with this particular plant. Now, I never have troubles with Dendrobiums, not like this kind. This kind seems to always grow really, really good for me. This is a Burana, Dendrobium Burana Green crossed with Creantum. I think that's how it says. Anyways, I've had this thing in different medias, and it's still dehydrated. You can definitely see the signs of dehydration. So that's one thing to definitely be aware of, and kind of read what your plant is telling you. That is another, like, oops, I broke a root. You can watch that crack too. Don't want to be breaking roots, especially new ones, and especially because this one ain't got many to begin with anyway. But so I had broke out a media more filled with coconut husk chunks. Hoping that the more moisture would entice this guy to root really good. And it's put out roots, but as you can tell, they're not great, and they're not getting enough moisture. That is, you can always tell how a root is not getting enough moisture because they look kind of stumpy. They should have nice green growing tips and wanting to grow. So this plant is definitely not happy. But again, you can see the difference between a hydrated cane and a non-hydrated cane. This wrinkly, real wrinkly. Of course, this is an old bulb too, and they will get wrinkles to some degree, but not like that. You'll see how this one does have smooth and then wrinkled. This is not too dehydrated here. But these newer canes, see, this is a whole brand new big cane, and it looks really, really, really good. But I need to get these to be able to root, and so I'm going to try a little bit of moss. That's the only other thing I know to do. It did not respond well with the increased coconut husk chunks, so we're going to add a little bit of moss and see what that does. But anyways, so another thing, that's another reason why having your plants in hand, you can see what's going on with them, and you can make an informed decision about what to do. So, but like we had just went over the pits caused by spider mites and scale. Now, scale leaves a big old dent in a plant. It really does. Spider mites, some of their after damage leaves big dents, but for the most part, it's little pits that wind up, just destroying a whole leaf. So, let me see if I can find one. I'll sure I got plenty. So, let me find one. I wasn't planning on showing you, but I can show you the underneath leaf of one that has been hit really hard. So hang on, I'll be right back. I have you way zoomed in because I want you to be able to see the damage. That is definite spider mite damage, okay? And usually, 9 times out of 10, you can see the damage on the underside of a leaf for spider mites. Spider mites like to hide. They like to hide under the leaf, 100%. So you always know where to look for them. And if you start noticing them on top, then you've got a big problem because they have already moved to the top side of the leaf, and you know the whole underneath of the leaf is just ate up. So that is something, that's why I tell you, get your plants out, put them in your hands, look at them and see what's going on. Tip them upside down so that you can see what's going on under the leaf. See, like this little guy here, you know, let me zoom back out just a hair. This little guy here, you know, I get him in hand and I look at him and I'm like, oh, everything looks really good. He looks really great from the top. Then I turn him around and I notice he's possibly senescing a leaf. And so that clues me in to something going on. So yeah, it's kind of like just you look them over and then you twist them around and you look under the leaves, and you know, just general overall looking to see what is going on with a plant. And it's really, a lot of times it's beneficial because you can really catch those bugs early that way. And I mean, it is harder when you've got a big collection, but still, it's really, really worth it. Because you really could save yourself a big trouble when, you know, an outbreak occurs, and you can really get it taken care of really fast. This channel is sponsored by the Orchid Supply store. It is literally your one-stop shop for anything and everything you could possibly need orchid related, and they even sell orchids. Use my name code Hillbilly in the code section for a 12% viewers discount. So go check them out, y'all. Alright, so back over here to our Dendrobium. Now, the main reason too that I got this plant out, you know, so number one, I've noticed it's dehydrated. Well, you know, because it doesn't have a good root system. And I've noticed that my increase of coconut husk chunks has not helped this plant along any, so I now know there's something else I got to do. So, and number two is I noticed, this was more back in the summer, but the damage is still there and the damage is done. This one was a new one for me. This damage here was a new one for me. It almost reminded you of spider mites, slightly. See how on the tip the definite you know, like depletion of scales, that almost looked like spider mites, but then you got up here and you noticed like a almost like what a leaf miner would do. You notice a definite trailing effect of the pigments being ate. And also I had noticed like small black dots, okay, along these little trails. Now, this is where having orchid friends comes in really, really handy, because I sent pictures to Michael and I was like, hey, what the heck is this? Because like I said, this was the very first year I've ever had thrips and ever had to deal with thrips. Thrips was a brand new bug to me. And thrips has different stages. They have a larval stage and then they have a flying stage. So this was thrips at their larval stage. That was a completely new ballpark for me. And that's, you know, Michael, with all the years experience that Michael has, he's like, well, that's thrips in the larval stage. And I was like, well, poopy. But that's why I said, I noticed this was new. This was a different kind of bug pattern. You see, and it was on top of the leaf. So that was another thing that kind of, I mean, there was a little bit on the bottom, and you can see like a silvery kind of splotchy kind of deal. But this was different. This was definitely not a lot under there. I mean, a little bit, but you can tell it was definitely more on top. But you can see the trailing effect that they left. And yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, so now I at least know what I have to do, because I sprayed with oil, with the oil, soap, and water, and alcohol, and it did nothing. I kept having the issues. And the other weird thing is I had these in my grow space, plus I had them in my kitchen, which is a whole nother room away on my Miltoniopsis. So they managed to fly there even and get my plants in the kitchen. So thrips can, once they get, to a wider stage, they can really go throughout your collection and you not even know it. Because nothing about my Miltoniopsis has anything to do with my grow space. Like, I don't bring them back here for anything, maybe once in a while to repot them or something like that. But generally, they get watered, they get unwatered, they get flushed, they get everything they get in the kitchen. So those Miltoniopsis very seldom come into my grow space. But yet, they had thrips in the larval stage. So, like I said, you gotta watch them. They do. They fly, they definitely make their rounds, they get around, and they definitely make fast work of things. So, and I think too, what kind of helped, I did have to wind up using the systemic in order to get rid of them, but I did at that point, I had ladybugs came in. So that helped a little bit. I did have a little outbreak of ladybugs. You can't really call it outbreak. Ladybugs are, some people hate them in their house, but some people do get bombarded with them. I don't mind it when they sneak and find their way in, so I don't usually mind that at all, because like I said, ladybugs are good for your collection. They're not, to me, a ladybug is not like a thrip, but a lot of people don't like bugs. I don't mind them. I have released in here before, like the Nature's Good Guys bugs, the little bugs that do kill spider mites. I have done that before. Bugs don't affect me like some people do. I understand. We all have our ways about us, and if you don't like bugs, it's perfectly okay. You don't have to deal with them like other people do. I don't mind little spiders, because spiders kill the bugs. Spiders make little webs, and I don't mind a spider one bit in my garden. Nope, I don't. To me, they're my natural defense. They'll make a web, they'll catch them thrips as they're flying, and they'll kill them and eat them. All the better for me, But some people can't stand that. So, and I, that's just different tastes and how people do things differently, and that's okay. But I do always have to be careful, because I don't mind those kind of bugs. When you use systemics, you do kill the good bugs as well. Systemics is not not good and bad, variant on what it kills. They're just going to kill everything. Systemic should be your last kind of resort. If you can't get rid of something, then that's going to be, with your natural ways, then you got to go systemic. And sometimes you just have to pick that up and you just have to use it. So, and that was the case with these thrips. They were starting to get out of control. I was finding this damage on way too many plants, and using the oil, soap, and alcohol was not handling the larvae stage of the thrips. And so yeah, I had to make the decision to do that. So, but anyways, I wanted to show you guys, because this is really a good way of knowing, this is what thrips looks like in the larval stage. So this is damage, and once you see that on your plant, then you're like, oh, okay, I know, Now, anytime I ever see that again in the future, I will automatically know what it is, and I can start treatment a lot sooner. I did let this go a little bit because at first I was not aware of what it was. Like I said, 6 years, or almost 10 years in growing orchids, and I didn't notice. I didn't know what it was because I've never dealt with thrips, and I honestly thought I never would. I've had the spider mites, I've had the mealybugs, I've had scale. I was all aware of what those were like, but thrips was just really new to me. And so I really wanted to kind of put that out there to everybody that, this is some of the reasons to pick your plants up and look at them. So I have found, that this one had bug damage before. This plant is needing more moisture than it's getting, and so we're going to fix that problem as well. So like I said, I'm going to add moss. I'm going to use the same media because there's no reason not to. I definitely, it's good medium, so there's no rhyme or reason why not to use it. It's been on this plant, and there's no harm in what it's doing. Watch this fan blow my moss away. I'm over here on this side of the room using my table, so I thought, well, I wanted to film this real quick while I was looking at this plant, and I knew I had to deal with it today. You couldn't leave it go, and things would have been a lot more detrimental for this plant if I'd have left it go and not been able to get the moisture content that it needs. So you want to try to address the issues on your plants as soon as possible, and in all aspects, in bugs, in care, in repotting, all of those things. They're all really, really important to a plant, and this could be the factor in saving this plant, and or it dying. So you got to jump in there and take care of these issues as soon as you possibly can. We all got things going on. We all got, troubles in our lives. We all got issues. It's Christmas time, it's just a lot of different things that goes on. So, but, definitely deal with them as soon as you can. I usually, especially with bugs, I am behind on some potting issues, but with bugs and stuff, I usually just stop what I'm doing the minute I see it. I carry bug sprays on my cart as I'm watering. If I see something, I've got it right there, I've got it mixed, I've got it ready to rock and roll, so I can spray instantly, and then I'm done. I can deal with it in another day or so, so you can keep up with the spraying. Now I'm gonna top this with the bark just to keep the moss from getting icky. And I'm gonna stake it because this thing loves to flop. So that's another thing that is definitely detrimental to a plant, is you should always have them sturdy. This thing's got a little tip on it, and it never wants to push in a pot. So I'll deal with that later. But basically, that's what I'm going to do right there. And I'm going to go ahead and water her so that the moss is now, will be soaked, and maybe this plant can get on the road to recovery. So there you guys go. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you beautiful, wonderful people stopping by and hanging out with me. And bye for now, y'all, till we meet again.